Hi, it's Kristen and I am doing another TBR cards pick what I read video. So I decided to do the video because my reading has felt really structured recently because of book clubs or reading for specific videos or reading books to return them to the library or my sister. And so I wanted to mood read, and I had a really great time last time I did this with my TBR cards, because it meant I could mood read but I still had a bit of a parameter to help me choose within my massive TBR. And so I had a really great time when I did this last time, and I hope I'm not jinxing it and I also have a great time this time. No pressure. So I've got my TBR cards, and yeah, whatever prompt I pick out is going to help me decide on a book. If I pick a card that I don't have a book that fits for, I'll just pick again. Or if I pick a card where I only have one book that fits that prompt and it's a book I'm really not in the mood to read, I'll just choose again. So card is choose a book which has a couple on the cover. This works well because I'm in the mood to read romance at the moment. So I'm going to go have a look at my books, my romances in particular, and let you know what I end up picking. I'm excited. We have some options. This is kind of what I'm inclined to pick up because I just read the second book in this series and I really enjoyed it. So I'm in the mood for this one, but I don't know if it's too soon after reading the second book. But we've got that as an option. This one potentially a bit more hard hitting. This one's a sequel, which I'm excited to read, but I don't know if I want to read a sequel for this video. This one I'm very excited to get to. This one less excited for, but sort of want to get to it. This would be a reread. This again is sort of like a companion sequel, but I don't think it really matters. And then I do love Emily Henry. Oh, so yeah, those are my options. I think I'm going to go away, pick something, and you will find out in the next clip what I chose. I did end up going for Lost and Lassoed because I thought, if the whole point of this vlog is to mood read, this is what I'm in the mood for. And it also feels fitting because in the first version of this TBR cards choose what I read, I read Done and Dusted, which is the first book in this romance series, and when I read that, I was really intrigued by the characters Gus and Teddy and their dynamic, because they're very bickering, they have an animosity towards each other, but there's obviously some tension there. And then it took me a whole year to read the sequel, even though I was interested in the series and I enjoyed it. So a week ago I read book 2, which was about Wes and Ada, and I enjoyed that. But again, as I was reading it, I was like, I'm excited to get to book 3, which is about Gus and Teddy. And part of me felt like it was too soon to read book 3. If I'd gone a year-ish between book 1 and 2, going a week between book 2 and 3 felt weird. But then I was like, what am I going to do? Be really excited for this book, but wait a whole year to read it just because that's what I did with the last one? That's ridiculous. Just read what I'm currently interested in. So I ended up picking this up, and I'm so glad I did. So yeah, this is about Teddy, who's this young woman and she's feeling a bit lost in life, and she feels a bit stagnant, and everyone else seems to be getting together with people, getting married, having kids, or thinking about having kids, or doing really cool things with their careers, and she just feels a bit stuck, which feels quite relatable. and I like her as a character. And then Gus is her best friend's older brother, and he's a single dad, has a really great relationship with his child's mum, but he's a single dad trying to parent for the summer by himself while his daughter's mum is off doing like career stuff. And he's also in charge of the ranch, or like helps his dad with the ranch, and is finding everything like a bit much, so needs some help with his daughter. And so Emmy, who is Teddy's best friend and Gus's younger sister, like convinces Gus to employ Teddy as like a part-time babysitter to help out with Riley. And I was a bit hesitant going into this because like Riley is going to be such a prominent character as Gus's daughter, and sometimes kids in books like I don't gel with, but she's quite a sweet character. She's not irritating to me, so that's fine. But yeah, I do love the tension and like the progression of them going from really disliking each other, Teddy and Gus, to like finding some common ground, or like finding appreciation in things. Like he doesn't like Teddy, but it's like actually she's really good with Riley, and so then they start like bonding over certain things, and you know, admitting that they're like attracted to each other. And I'm whizzing through this. I started this last night and I'm halfway through, and yeah, I'm loving the tension. I'm loving like the little bit of backstory that's been revealed, their history, why they don't like each other so much, and like seeing their feelings grow and change and all that stuff. But I am interested to see how it's like they're actually gonna come together. I've not really had any like steamy scenes yet. There was like the hint of something to start, but then Teddy was like, I can't do this. So yeah, we will see how this goes, but I'm having a great time with it so far, honestly. So I'm really glad I chose to pick this one up. Love me a good romance. I was in a romance mood. I'm glad that this prompt came up. I finished Lost and Lassoed. I read the first like 70 pages of this on the first day that I picked it to read, and then I read the rest of it yesterday. I really enjoyed this one. This one was the one I was looking forward to reading from about like halfway through book one because like I said, I really loved Gus and Teddy's dynamic. Teddy as a character I just really love. She's so bold and like brash, but then in this there's a lot of talk about how that's how everyone sees her, and it is how she is sometimes, but actually like she does struggle with a lot of things and everyone just expects her to be fine, and actually like she's not always fine. And she finds that connection with Gus because he is also like the oldest sibling. He has like responsibilities that other people don't. He's like a single dad, so he again also has this like facade of being the one who has to take care of things, but actually like he needs to take care of himself. And so I think that that's a really nice like message of their connection, and like just in general. There was a point in this that got like quite sad. Teddy's dad isn't very well. He has like nurses who come and care for him. Teddy takes care of him a lot, and there is like a section here where he ends up in hospital, and that was quite hard to read just because of like stuff going on at the moment that it felt very real. And there at the very end there's like a bonus content from the author who talks about how in the first draft of this she wasn't like super happy with everything, and then her dad ended up going into hospital, and so when she was writing her second draft she added a lot more of like the father daughter stuff into this, which I think really like strengthens this book. I did wonder at the beginning in the dedication that she dedicates it to her dad, and I'm like, kind of weird to dedicate a book that has multiple sex scenes in it to your dad. But after reading that, I think that makes so much sense, because Teddy and her dad, and then Gus and his dad, and Gus and his daughter, there's like really, I think, quite strong narrative threads pulling those things together, those themes. And I like in Lila Sage's books that it's not just all about the romance, it is about relationships with family, relationships with friends. Each of the characters has stuff going on with like their jobs, and like the romance is for the characters just like a bonus element. It's not like the be all end all. Gus, there were a couple of points where he annoyed me a bit. He got a bit like macho, like got annoyed with Teddy for like flirting with a guy and was like a bit grumpy and rude with her again. But she calls him out on that, so like good. And then the steamy scenes, I was partly like, yeah, this is like well written, it does feel very steamy, like there's a lot of tension here, like this is good. And then there were a couple of little things where they like said certain things to each other that I was like, not for me. But that's just personal taste. I had a really good time with this one. I think Lila Sage is also good in this series that it's all like companion romances, of including the other characters from previous books or from books that are to come. So if you've read from like that couple and you want to see them again, you do, and she starts like planting seeds of relationships between future character combos, and we get a sense of like who those characters are before we delve into a book that's all about them. And I think she does it well in that you get these like, they're more than cameos, because like Emmy being best friends with Teddy is quite prominent in this book, and I think you get those fun interactions without them being in it too much that it takes the focus away from the couple that we're focusing on at the time, but you still get those fun interactions from characters that you're looking forward to seeing or that you've like missed seeing. I think it's like a very cohesive series with like progressions in relationships throughout the books that makes sense. This one was my favourite one so far, which I thought it would be, and I'm glad it was. The previous two I've given 3 stars, like fun, entertaining. They gave me like the fun little cowboy romances that I wanted. But this one, yeah, just a little step higher than the other two. I am looking forward to reading the next one, but I'm not like as eager to dive into it. I like Cam as a character. We've been introduced to Dusty, who's going to be the love interest. And this one sort of ends on a cliffhanger in a way that the epilogues of the other books I don't remember doing. Like they were more just, here's where the characters are at now in their lives after like a few months time jump. Whereas this time jumps a few months, gives us basically a bonus sex scene between Teddy and Gus. And then, yeah, throws a little cliffhanger on the end, which is obviously going to lead into the dynamics of the next book. So yes, looking forward to getting to that one at some point. But I don't feel like I need to pick up that next book. I feel like that's a rainy day book. I'll get to it at some point when I want a bit of like coziness. But yes, a successful like first book of this reading vlog. And now I need to pick the next prompt from my TBR cards. And that is going to be, choose a book which is a fake relationship trope. I don't know if I have one. I will have to have a look. I remembered after doing this pick a book with like couples on the front, that I have like a whole set of historical romance books that I never went to. So maybe they will help me with this. I'm gonna go have a look, and if I don't have anything that fits, I'll just pick another card and I'll let you know. But I'm gonna go look for if I have anything with a fake relationship trope. I'll be back. So I struggled a bit finding a book with a fake romance in it, like a fake relationship. I found a historical romance which I thought fit really well. It's like a couple faking an elopement, and I was like, hell yeah, fits perfectly. I thought that was book 1 in a series, but it wasn't. I think it's like 1 or 2 books into the series, which they are companion books, so like it's just the setting that's the same, but they're not actually connected. But like the like completionist person in me who wants to read things in the like correct chronological order, I couldn't do it. I couldn't pick that one. And then I remembered that I have Happy Place by Emily Henry, which involves a group of friends going on holiday together, and there's a couple in this who actually broke up before the events of this book, and so the group of friends can have like one last fun holiday as a group without like drama. They pretend that they are still together even though they actually split up. So that's a fake relationship. They were in a real relationship, but they broke up and now they're in a fake relationship. So I guess I go with this. This feels kind of silly to me because in the first TBR cards, Choose What I Read, I read a Rebel Blue Ranch book. I read Done and Dusted. This time I read Lost and Lassoed. And then I read an Emily Henry. I read Book Lovers. And now I'm going to pick up Happy Place by Emily Henry. So I do think the TBR cards like that I've pulled out so far have lent more towards romance books, like prompts that will help you pick up romances. So like that's just what I've ended up doing. It's like romance contemporary. So I am gonna pick up this because it is the only book I have other than that historical romance, which I don't want to read because it's like, I do want to read it. I actually really wanted to read it, but it's not in like the chronological correct order for me to read that romance series. So I'm gonna go with Happy Place, but that's fine by me because I like Emily Henry. I'd given Beach Read by her 4 stars. You and Me on Vacation I gave 3 stars, not my favourite. Book Lovers I gave like 4.5 stars. It was like almost a 5-star when I read it last year. It's my favourite one so far. I've heard mixed things about this one, but if I read this then I'll only have 1 Emily Henry left on my TBR. So yeah, and also this is like really summery looking and fun, and it's currently summer, so if I don't read this now I feel like I've timed out from reading it this year. So let's just go ahead and do Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm a little over 100 pages in. I'm enjoying it so far. I think Emily Henry writes really great banter. I always love the banter between her like main love interest characters, and this one I think is really interesting because while we have like present day storyline, which is all the friends getting together for like their last holiday at this cottage they always go to in the summer, and Wynne and Harriet have been broken up for 5 months, but none of their friends know, so they're pretending to be together so that it doesn't like ruin the weekend. We also get flashbacks throughout the book so far of like when Harriet first befriended Sabrina and Cleo, when Harriet and Wynne first met, the first summer they like had to share a room at the cottage, then their first like living together in college. So we're getting like the build up and the start of all her friendships and relationships, and then we're seeing how they are now, which I think is like a nice way to like get a sense of like who the characters are past and present. So I'm liking that. Like I said, the banter I'm enjoying. When I really like him, he comes across like very funny and charming, but it is kind of annoying me that, like, yeah, he's flirty, he seems really sweet with Harriet in like the past timeline, but he also has like some of that energy in the present timeline, although like less because they're broken up. But he broke up with her, and I'm sort of like, I don't think you, as the person who is the dumper, like, you shouldn't be any kind of flirty. You shouldn't be all like tender and caring. Like, don't be mean, but like, you don't get to be like the soft, sweet one if you're the one who dumped them. And I know it's because like he thinks that she cheated on him and that's why he broke up with her. But like, she says to him, like, I can't believe you still think I cheated on you. So they've obviously like talked about it, or she at least knows that that's why he dumped her. In which case, like, if she says I didn't cheat on you, why does he think she did, and why does he not like trust that she didn't if she says she didn't? So in that respect, he kind of pisses me off, because like, either just like fucking trust your girlfriend when she says she didn't cheat on you, or if you genuinely think she did and that's why you broke up with her, stop being like, kind of like, remember old times and like brushing her hair off her face or whatever he was doing in the wine cellar, because like, you dumped her, leave her alone now. But like, I'm enjoying their dynamic. I'm interested to like get full backstory on like what went on. And yeah, I know that this is an Emily Henry book where people are like, they absolutely would not actually last as a couple, or like, yeah, when you when you close the book, when you finish it, you're like, they're gonna break up again. So we will see. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's just so readable. Emily Henry's so readable. I'm like just over 100 pages from the end, and again, really enjoying it still. Very caught up in the drama of their relationship, fake relationship. My thing is, I find them really sweet in the flashbacks of like the progression of their relationship. They're so cute together. And then in the present day, them being broken up, they have still like a lot of chemistry. There's that like tension. I'm very invested. And it's like, I want them to get back together because I think they're really lovely together, like in the flashbacks, and I think they have, yeah, a really good chemistry. But at the same time, I'm like, if you do get back together, you're just gonna have the same issues. Like, Harriet's very focused on her career and she needs to be in San Francisco for that because that's where her medical residency is. Wynn has moved back to Montana, I think it is, to be with his mum because she's very ill, and so he's there to like run a business and look after his mum, and so they're having to live in different places because of like what's going on in their life, which obviously put a strain on their relationship. And so like, even if they get back together now, I'm like, that issue is still gonna be there, and I don't see how we're actually gonna get past this. But like, is this the reason that everyone says like they are the Emily Henry couple that you think after the book finishes they probably break up again, or like the relationship wouldn't last? Because actually, like, are they going to be like, we'll make it work, like love conquers everything, but you're like, fundamentally your relationship won't work just from like practical, logistical, technical things. But like, I do want them to be together because I think they're really cute, but I don't know that it would last because they still have all the same problems. But anyway, yeah, like just over 100 pages left of this, so I think I'm just gonna go finish it, and then I will update you with like my final thoughts. But yeah, I'm enjoying this, and I hope it ends well, but I don't even know what that would mean. I just read the chapter that's like them drifting apart and the breakup and like everything leading up to that. Just made me real sad because it's like it felt so realistic. It's just like not like one big thing that happened. It's just like they both got busy, they had less time for each other, they started not seeing each other, work got in the way, like other things like with his mum and having to move back to Montana, and then them like missing phone calls, and then circumstances coming up with them and they couldn't like visit each other when they'd planned to. And yeah, it's just like this really slow, sad disintegration of their relationship. Made me feel like really sick reading it. But also makes me go like, is this going to end up with them getting back together? Because I really don't see how anything will be different. So, oh, I don't know. This is making me anxious. Finished Happy Place. It was kind of hard hitting towards the end. There was like friendship stuff that got brought up, which just made me feel like very anxious. And it was one of those like feelings or arguments that feel quite realistic, and I could see like everyone's point of view. Like Sabrina making the point that like she's the friend that always like makes plans, is always the one that texts and calls and is the one trying to like keep the group together, and I can definitely like relate to that in some respects, like personally. And then like Claire's point of view of that they're all different people to when they met, like they've been friends for 10 years and they're just fundamentally different people now than when they first became friends. And they do like drift here and there, and is that necessarily a bad thing or not? And again, I can relate to that. I've got friends that I've been friends with for ages, and we are just different people to when we were originally becoming friends. And yeah, like sometimes you drift apart, sometimes you come back together, sometimes the structure of your friendship groups just changes. And then I could definitely relate to Harriet, who is like trying to keep the peace between friends, because like I don't like confrontation. But in doing so often like doesn't actually like reveal how she's feeling. And so I could like relate to each of the friends in the friendship group, which made me like even more anxious when reading, because it's like I couldn't even like take one person's side. It just made me feel like kind of sick. Like the breakup chapter and the friendship fight just made me feel quite ill, which I think is why, even though this book like kind of affected me, I'm gonna rate it like 3.5, 3.75. I debated 4, but then I was like, I just felt too anxious and uncomfortable for too much of it to rate it as highly. And also I rated like Beach Read and Book Lovers, which I did enjoy more than this, 4 stars. So if I rated them 4 stars, I can't rate this the same because I didn't like it quite as much as I liked those. But I do think I liked it more than You and Me on Vacation, which I think I gave 3.25. But I did like this one, although I don't know that it's one that I would like reread, even though I know how it ends and I know that like the characters end up in like an okay place and they find happiness in some ways. I don't like, it just made me feel too anxious I think to reread it. Whereas I would say I would reread Emily Henry's other books. I think this like throughout just has the most of all her books like a melancholic feeling to it. Like there's good banter and there are fun moments, but like the underlying breakup, friendship troubles, that kind of thing just make this feel quite sad in points. So while I did find this very relatable and like very affecting, I can't say that I like had a great time reading it, but I did enjoy it. I liked it. I think it's a good book. Glad I read it. Glad I got to another Emily Henry on my shelves. And like so far I've liked the books I've read. So it's time to pick a new prompt, new card. I'm hoping to get something that's less leading me into only reading romance, because like couple on the cover and fake relationship trope sort of like pushed me to the romance section of my shelves. So I'm hoping I get a prompt that's like maybe a bit more generic so that I can maybe reach for like a different genre. I might still end up reading some romance. I do love romance, but like maybe a historical romance, or if it's contemporary, something that's not as romance heavy but still a contemporary story. Because last time I got prompts like dual narrative, like dual POV, or with a name as the first word on the blurb. So maybe something like that rather than something specifically romance. So let's pull and see what we get. I can't get it out. Oh my god, it's stuck. Oh, okay. Okay, choose a book which has been in your TBR for more than a year. Okay, this is a good prompt. I have so many books on my TBR that I've had for a long time. Okay, I've got plenty to choose from though. Let me go have a look and I will let you know. So I was trying to think of books that I've had on my shelves for over a year, and my problem was that the books I'm most excited to read at the moment are books I've acquired more recently. I think that makes sense. So I went back and I looked at my book hauls from a year ago, and the one that was like my May to September book haul, either I'd read the stuff on it or I just really wasn't in the mood for it at the moment. So then I went to the beginning of last year, the sort of January to April book haul. And again, I was thinking, I'm going on holiday this weekend just for a long weekend away. So whatever I pick is potentially the book that's coming on holiday with me. And like, I want a specific vibe for my holiday, unless I could find a book that I could read in a day. And that can be my final book for this vlog. And then in the book haul, up came a bit of a rogue choice. Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. This one's really short. I feel like I could read it in a day. I do have a renewed interest in it since a few months ago. I went with my family to see the stage show, which was fantastic. I cried so much. I'd seen it before in like the cinema, like the filmed version of it, but this time we saw it live. It was incredible. And so now I feel like I need to read this within the year that I watched the stage show, and then maybe I'll watch the movie at some point, like the actual movie version, not the filmed stage show. But yeah, so I'm hoping I can read this today. This will be my last book of the vlog. I feel like a big tone change from the two like romantic comedy contemporaries I've read so far. Let's go for a historical book that's like aimed at children, and yeah, have emotions about the war and horses. I will let you know. Will I update you partway through, or will I just read the whole thing? You'll see, you'll find out. I finished Warhorse for the choose book which has been in your TBR for more than a year prompt. I cried. I don't know if I found it more emotional because I've seen like the stage show, and I think the stage show is so brilliant. And like you sort of forget that they're puppets when you watch the stage show, because like you really get the emotions of the horses. This is told from Joey's perspective. Joey is the horse. He is the war horse, and it's just follows like several years in his life, the duration of the war, but him being bought when he's young and then being trained by this young boy who he sort of grows up alongside, and then he gets sold into the war effort, and then it's about him going overseas and being used in like cavalry, and then as like a cart horse, and you see all these people come in and out of his life and the way that like he affects them all. And I just think it's such a beautifully simply told story. I got given this by a volunteer to potentially use for the book club that I run for where I work, but I was like, let me read it first to see if like I think it's okay to read out loud. There isn't any like questionable content in here, but I can't do this for book club because I can't read it without crying. But this was great. This was really good. I recommend the stage show. I haven't seen the movie. Feel like I need to do that. I know that that's also sad. And it was interesting to see like the little details. It's quite a faithful adaptation, the stage show of this, but there are like little elements they obviously change for the adaptation. But yeah, I'd give this like a really solid like 3.5 stars. Honestly, it affected me emotionally. So overall, another really successful TBR card chooses what I read video. We had a 4-star fun contemporary cowboy romance with like a bit of heart to it. We had like good romantic banter, but with like more serious, life affecting conversations, like a 3.75 star, and then a really solid 3.5 historical fiction to switch things up a bit at the end. But yeah, I had a great time with all of these books, and like that was a really great week of reading. I read this in like 2 days, I read this in 3 days, I read this in a day. I had a great time. Like, I'm so happy with how this went, and I would recommend all of these. I think they all serve different purposes, especially this one, very different. But yeah, I had a good time with everything I read and got 3 books off my TBR in the span of a week. So I'm feeling good, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling in a reading mood again. So that is it for this video. Have you read any of these? What did you think? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you'd like to see me do another version of this TBR cards chooses what I read. I definitely think I will do another one because 2 for 2 on the success rate so far. That is it for this video, and I will see you soon with another one.